In the early hours of Saturday morning, Caracas woke up to the sound of aircraft overhead, loud explosions, and at least one column of smoke rising into the sky. Witnesses reported power outages across the southern parts of the Venezuelan capital near one of the country's largest military bases. Videos circulating on social media showed flashes and blasts across the city, though the exact locations and causes could not immediately be verified. What is clear is that this moment comes at the peak of a months-long escalation between the United States and Venezuela, one that has steadily pushed both countries closer to the edge of open confrontation. Since the start of the year, US President Donald Trump has dramatically expanded military operations across the Caribbean and the Pacific, framing them as a war against what Washington calls, quote-unquote, narco-terrorism. The US has carried out repeated strikes on vessels it claims were transporting drugs, killing dozens of people at sea, and has publicly accused Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of overseeing criminal networks that traffic narcotics into the United States. In August, US Attorney General Pam Bondi announced that Washington has doubled its reward for information leading to Maduro's arrest to $50 million, accusing him of working with foreign terrorist organizations to fuel drug violence. The reward, first announced in 2020, was raised again as Maduro was sworn in for a third time.
The Department of Justice and State Department are announcing a historic $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Suns to bring deadly drugs and violence into our country.
By February, the United States formally designated Venezuela's Tren de Aragua gang as a foreign terrorist organization, later adding the Cartel de los Soles, which US officials allege is linking to senior figures in the Maduro government. As US naval deployments intensified, Maduro responded by mobilizing civilians and reservists, urging Venezuelans to prepare to defend national sovereignty. Thousands signed up for the National Bolivarian Militia, while the government staged military exercises and showcased new air defense deployments across the country. Maduro accused Washington of quote-unquote gunboat diplomacy, warning that Venezuela would not submit to threats or intimidation. At the same time, US warships docked at the Panama Canal, aircraft carriers moved into the Atlantic, and advanced fighter jets and drones were deployed across Puerto Rico and the wider Caribbean. In September, President Trump confirmed the United States had begun lethal strikes on drug vessels in international waters, publishing videos and statements on social media that framed the attacks as a warning to traffickers and to Venezuela's leadership. Despite repeatedly insisting he was not pursuing regime changes, Trump did not rule out putting US troops on the ground. By November, he openly stated that quote-unquote nothing was off the table when it came to Venezuela. The escalation reached a new level in December when Trump ordered a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela, declared the Venezuelan regime a foreign terrorist organization, and authorized seizures of oil shipments at sea. US forces intercepted tankers, boarded ships by helicopter, and began openly discussing selling or retaining seized Venezuelan oil. Venezuela, for its part, vowed to continue trading, deployed thousands of air defense systems, and staged massive civic military rallies in Caracas, with Maduro invoking the legacy of Simon Bolivar and calling on citizens to resist what he described as imperial aggression. International concern has grown alongside the military buildup. The United Nations warned that while Venezuela's human rights accord remains deeply troubling, a military confrontation would not resolve the country's crisis and could violate international law. Just days ago, Maduro said he had held a respectful and cordial phone conversation with President Trump, hinting at the possibility of dialogue. Yet, even as those words were spoken, US military aircraft, drones, and ground assets continued to pour into the region. Now, with explosions reported in Caracas and smoke rising near a key military base, the question is no longer whether tensions are escalating, but how far this confrontation will go and whether the line between pressure and open conflict has already been crossed. For now, both Washington and Caracas remain silent on what exactly happened overnight, but in a standoff defined by military force, public threats, and mutual distrust, Even a few hours of uncertainty carry enormous consequences.